All right, we're back. Another week. Hell of a weekend for football. College, NFL had some really good games. There's been a couple things. I mean, it was a wild college football weekend. I mean, I guess just jump straight into it. The first thing I have is Ohio State. Ha 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 ha. I mean, I gave it out on the show. The 21 was just too much. It's a rivalry game. It was rivalry week. No matter what that spread I think unless it is a clear 0-14 team versus Ohio State or vice versa, 0-14 team, Ohio State versus Michigan. I don't know how you put that game at 21. I really don't. I mean, I get it. Ohio State has a $20 million roster. Michigan's not really playing for much. But my God, Ohio State, you lose to a Michigan team that's kind of given up on the season. They're 6-5 coming into this game, and they keep it close. It's not even like it was like back and forth. It was a one-possession game the entire time. Now, Ohio State's kicker did miss a couple field goals, but he's been automatic all year. It just means more. This game just means more. Last year I said that I remember seeing the spread again last year. It was a massive spread. I think it was like 14.5 on Michigan or something like that. Or I don't know. It was 7 maybe. I don't even know. But it came down to they covered. Whoever I know Michigan won last year, but I think Ohio State covered. I don't understand that. That is one of the best rivalries in sports. Fire Ryan Day. That's what I've been reading. I've been reading it. I don't know how you don't fire him. I mean, not at this point, but at the end of the season, I mean, he's got to be gone, right? I think to save his job, he has to make it to the semis, maybe even make it to the championship game, national championship game, and be like, okay. The things that I've been seeing and listening to are, if Ohio State wins this, then it really counts as a Michigan second national championship because they beat them in the biggest game, the biggest rivalry game. I don't know. I don't know what you do if you're Ohio State. I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan, you got to be down tremendously. You could look like, oh, yeah, we're going to make the playoffs and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, does it really mean that much? Do the playoffs mean that much if, you lose the rivalry game? I don't know. That's just me. Does it mean that much? It means more to Michigan, apparently. I mean, they're 4-0 in the last 4 years. I mean, Ryan Day can't even beat Michigan. I mean, and even on this kind of year where Michigan's down, you see that they don't have a quarterback. They're just running the ball. They have a good defense. It's all these kinds of things. Sorry, I'm looking at my dog. She's trying to figure out where she wants to lay down at. Anyways, sidetracked. I don't get it. I think Ryan Day is going to be gone. I know that's not a hot take by any means, but I really don't know. If you're an Ohio State fan, you're like, yeah, we can go to the national championship. I mean, I think Ohio State can probably beat any one of these teams, really. I mean, even any of the SEC teams. I'm a little worried about Will Howard. His ability to run is amazing, but his throwing ability is I'm not going to say limited because he's a Division I college quarterback, but the level that you're asking of him to throw, the kind of throws you're kind of asking him to make aren't on his radar. He's going to try, but I don't know. Ohio State is a little brother at this point. I don't think it's fair. Well, no, it is fair. I don't know what I'm mixing my words, but Ohio State, what do? You got a big decision coming up here. And even if you lose first round of the playoffs, which we'll get to the CFP here in a second, but if you lose first round of the playoffs, I think you got to fire Ryan Day. I think Ryan Day, to save his job, he's got to win. He's got to make it to the Natty or make a deep run, go to the semis and keep it close to whoever they're playing against. But yeah, it is interesting. I had the college football playoff up ready to go. Where is it? Nevertheless, here we go. Let's just go right into it. I have a few things. Actually, you know what? Let's go a different route. Ohio State, was my first headline. Heisman and the best players. I've been sitting on this take for. It's not a crazy take. I think it's a pretty common knowledge take if you're watching the game, if you're watching the sport. Don't get me wrong, Travis Hunter's amazing. Ashton Gentry Gentry is amazing. I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Both amazing players. Both deserve the Heisman one way or the other. You could look at, Travis Hunter and be like, oh, he's winning the cardio award, or you can be like, Ashton Gentry's playing the Mountain West. Either way, both ridiculous years, playing both sides of the ball, running the football, having 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, that kind of shit. 2,000 yards rushing. You go back and forth. You can go down rabbit holes on Twitter and just be like, oh, here's a guy that says this is why, or this is why they should win, or this is why they shouldn't win. All these kinds of things. My big takeaway from the Heisman this year is, again, both deserving. I think Travis has it locked up. I really do. My big takeaway from this year is, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but it's like, are these the best players in the country? Are these the 2 best players in the country deserving of this award? I'm not trying to sound like a dickhead. I'm really not, because I think they're both deserving. But it's like Big 12, Mountain West. You're telling me, I mean, no one's doing numbers in anywhere else. The Big 10 doesn't really have any outstanding players. The SEC, you thought maybe Jalen Milroe was going to have a good year. Maybe even Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers if he doesn't get hurt. I mean, those guys all kind of were like hanging around in the first few weeks, but then it kind of just fell off. So, I get it, but it's like we haven't really seen like outstanding players in these conferences, and that's probably because NIL has changed the entire thing. I mean, the big conferences, the ACC, who fucking cares? It's kind of a mid-league anyway. But the Big 10, SEC, the playing field has been leveled because of NIL. And people are like, why do I have to sit around for a year when I can go transfer to another school and ball out in my first year and get paid for it? So I guess that's kind of where I'm at with this entire thing is I get it. I totally get it that, these 2 guys are amazing. Both going to be drafted in the first round of the draft this year. I guess my big thing is like Big 12, Mountain West. These are the 2 best players. Hey, they're great players. They're going to get drafted. I can shut my fucking mouth, But it's like, I don't know. I've been kind of just sitting on it for a little while, letting it stew. I mean, I get it. I'm talking myself out of it as I have this small rant. But we'll go on. 8 overtimes. Georgia escapes. It was the most nerve-wracking game I've watched in a very long time as a Georgia fan. If we lose that game, there's no way we're in. There's no way we're in because, Bama's probably going to try to get in it. They're in it right now, but the way that first, 3 quarters went into that game was absolute horrid. It was terrible. Absolute terrible. Carson Beck decides to turn it on in the fourth quarter with 9 minutes left. Goes down, scores, defense gets a stop. Goes down, scores, defense gets a stop. Was it pass interference in the end zone when the game was still in regulation? It was ticky tacky, but I'm not gonna say no to it. If on the other hand, it's like that really wasn't pass interference. He got there maybe a hair early, but I don't know. You can make anything look like in slow motion. Miami goes down. Miami's probably out of the playoff at this point. They haven't played anyone. They don't have any good games. They have 1 week left. It kind of sucks because they only have 1 loss. But it's like, who have they really played? Cam Ward's a dog. He got paid. I think he made himself a lot of money this year. He's going to get drafted. Someone's going to take a chance on him. That's really about it. I think Miami's actually done. They're gonna try to squeeze Bama in, which I kind of get, but they lost to a couple mid teams like Vandy. I don't know. The interesting one to me is Indiana, I guess. I'm looking at it right now. Let's just go. The last thing I had before we get into the CFP was brawls. There was brawl. You're watching a game, maybe watching 2 games on the TV. Maybe you got boxed in, all 4, right? Every 2 hours, there's a new brawl just because it's rivalry week, and I love it. Now, maybe the cops went a little too far in the Ohio State-Michigan game where they're putting pepper spray out there. Bro, they're just brawling out there. It's a rivalry game. You're throwing pepper spray on these guys? Come on, get out of here. But just a brawl everywhere. There was one every couple hours. It was amazing to see. I missed a couple of the brawls. I didn't see them physically, but you get on Twitter and you're like, oh, North Carolina and NC State are brawling. Nice. This is awesome. This is rivalry week. They don't like each other. This is what rivalry week is. I don't like that. This is a slight at the NBA. It's like everyone's buddy now. Like, I get it. We're all working for a champion. I mean, working for a championship, get your next contract, all that kind of shit. But it's like, you don't need buddy with everyone. You don't need a buddy with everyone. It's like, fuck those guys. Let's go brawl. We lost. I get it. But it's like, fuck it. I don't know. That's just me. All right, CFP. Number 1, Oregon. Number 2, Texas. This is first round buys, FYI. Into the quarterfinals. Number 3, SMU. SMU has had in my opinion, I've watched zero SMU games. I know that they cover left and right, and I've been kind of off the train on them. It's amazing to see them because they have a shit ton of money down there, and good for them for going and using that money in SMU. Shocked they're getting a first round bye. A little. I mean, I don't know who else you put in there, but maybe Notre Dame, you could see it. Notre Dame's moving up the rankings. Boise State, first round bye. Number 4. I get it. These are the at-large conferences getting the first round bid, or first round bye, I mean. Then we got number 12, Arizona State, going to number 5, Penn State. Penn State home game. That'd be electric. Having Arizona State kids go to Penn State in the middle of the winter. Love it. Tennessee going to Ohio State, the 9-8 matchup. And you got right now it's Bama, number 11, going to Notre Dame, number 6, and then Indiana going to Georgia. That'll be if it would happen right now, that's how it would look. I love it. I think it's close enough to being perfect. The only one we're working with is it going to be Bama? Is it going to be Miami? Is Arizona State going to stay in there if they lose this week? All these kinds of things. I mean, here's what's going to come down to too. Texas has to win this weekend. I mean, Texas hasn't really played anyone. They played Georgia and they got manhandled by 15, 14, whatever it is. I think that game's going to be a lot closer this weekend. We can talk about it when we get there, but it's going to be real. I think it's going to be close. I think Georgia still wins because Georgia needs to win. The shitty part about this is you can make an argument either way on if, Georgia or Texas. I mean, if Texas loses, they still have I think a 99% chance of getting in. If Georgia loses, they have 3 losses. So how do you calculate that in? If that's the conference championship week. If Boise loses, what do you do with that? Do you drop them down to 8, maybe even 12? So I don't know. Or does Clemson get in? I mean, I have that written down too. Does Clemson get in if, they beat SMU? If SMU loses, do they drop all the way out? It's going to be a hell of a weekend for the football bracket because there are important games. I kind of get if you make your conference championship game, you're kind of in. But 3 losses, like say Georgia loses Texas, that's 3 losses. Are you going to put them in over Bama just because Georgia has a better schedule or tougher schedule where Bama's kind of played some, mid teams here and there? I don't know. I truly have no idea. Last thing before we get to, that's college football highlights from the weekend. Last thing we get to before we go into our NFL highlights, MLB is talking about putting a new rule in, the golden bat rule or some shit like that. And any hitter can come up at any point in the game. Like this is where it gets interesting is like the batting order. If you go down the line and you're like, hey, I'm up to bat in 2 spots, but we need the golden bat now. Can you go back and forth or I don't know. It's interesting. It's being talked about. It's kind of not always been talked about, but it's one of those things that it might make the sport more interesting. I don't know. I was listening to someone. They needed to get a red zone for MLB. I actually might watch that if I'm being honest. I don't like watching just full baseball games, but if I'm seeing highlights or just, pitches or just a constant movement of games, I think that's perfect. You don't need to have, Scott Hansen calling every game, but you can have a couple guys chime in the studio, be like, oh, we're going to this game. Look at this strike. Look at this pitch. All this kind of shit. I think that is a great idea. Anyways, NFL storylines or headlines, I guess is the best way to put it, from week 13. Detroit squeaks by Chicago. What the fuck are you doing, Chicago? They got rid of Matt Eberflus. Good call. Now, who do you bring in? Who do you bring in? Belichick? Maybe. Vrabel's also one. Who else? Who else is out there? They were saying who's the fuck? What's his name? Commanders offensive coordinator. That guy. I read that he's the top candidate. I don't hate any of those really. I mean, but you have. So here's the thing: you have the game. Bears lose 20-23. Detroit is driving, or Bears are driving down the field. With like a minute left. You get to like the 45 or something like that. 15 seconds left. You have what? 2 timeouts, maybe even a timeout. You throw. The call doesn't get called. The timeout doesn't get called. What are we doing? That's how you get fired instantly. Like you're already on the hot seat, and you're like, let's hold on to this timeout with 10 seconds left on the game. We don't have a play called. Everyone's scrambling. Caleb dropped back, try to throw a miracle. It was almost a pretty good pass. The guy was running a deep post angle cross across the field. Caleb stood in there, made a pretty good throw, but it's just like you have a timeout left. Just call the timeout. You had like 15 seconds. If it's an incomplete pass, then you trot the field goal out there. You go into overtime. You have a chance. Lions didn't look great. Their defense is starting to get banged up, which I'm a little worried about. I mean, their middle linebacker, blonde hair guy, they call him like Thor or some shit. He's out until, that was 2 weeks ago. So he's out till probably the end of December, early first round playoffs. So hopefully they have a bye, get him all the way healthy. That makes a huge difference. Their defense is getting banged up though. I'm not super worried about it because they're, you got guys on top of guys ready to go. Offense looks solid. No biggies. These were their Thanksgiving games. Dallas at the Giants. Be honest with you, didn't watch it. I don't really have any highlights from it. I heard Drew Lock look okay. So yeah, Dallas versus Giants. If I'm being honest, I don't remember who won. Packers are legit in my opinion. I think Jordan Love is balling out. I think Josh Jacobs is having a hell of a year. Matt LaFleur, great coach. Reed, Watson. I know I'm missing another one, but they're all balling out too. They stay healthy, they're going to be really good. That defense is actually coming around. Shockingly enough, the Green Bay offense and Green Bay defenses never really line up, but when they do, it's usually amazing. There's something in that Green Bay blood. There's something in that city or that water. They just always have a good team. I don't know the last time the Packers were really that bad. I mean, they've had Hall of Fame quarterbacks. It's crazy. Kansas City gets away with it again. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it. They should not be 11-1 or 12-1, whatever it is. They should not be 11-1. They should have lost to the Broncos. They should have lost to the Raiders. Who else they should have lost? I mean, I can go. There's a couple other ones. They should not. They should be still leading the division. Don't get me wrong. They should still be leading the division, but they should have maybe 10 wins right about now. Maybe even 9. Like it should be a tighter race than it actually is. Put your tinfoil hat on. Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL. Travis Kelce is dating the international superstar who's probably the biggest person in the world at the moment. You think you'd want her to be at games because the team is really good. I don't know. I'm just tinfoil hat. Now, if you go back and look at this Raiders game, they're driving. They're literally about to win this game. They're going to run one more play. You see it. And then they're going to kick the field goal to win. You see it happening. You see it happening right before your eyes. And then the lineman, the right guard, thinks Aiden O'Connell raises his leg to snap the ball to tap the center. He taps the center snaps the ball. Game over. Chiefs recover. It was terrible to watch because it's like the Raiders are about to do this. The Raiders are about to win this game. But nope. The right guard saw something else. I don't know. I don't know. They keep getting away with it. Chiefs are very beatable, in my opinion. I think the Chiefs are very, very beatable. Now, they're going to lock up the 1 seed here in the next week or two. So then do you start resting players towards the end of the season? Or they're going to win the AFC West. Not the one seed yet, but they're gonna win the AFC West. They keep getting away with it. Chargers legit question mark. I think so. The only hesitancy I have about it is like this last week, Justin Herbert threw like 150 yards. They ran the ball. The offense didn't look good, but the defense kind of kept them around. It kind of helps when Kirk Cousins throw 3 or 4 interceptions. Chargers legit, possibly loading. Possibly ... loading. Atlanta, bad question mark. I think so. I think they're 6-6. They're 500. They're not looking good. Maybe because Kirk Cousins is a little older and I don't think that Achilles is all the way healed. I'm not ready to pull the plug on him for next couple years. But is it time to start looking at Penix? I think if you lose maybe 1 or 2 more, you're like, hey Kirk, let's sit you down. Let's get you healthy. Let's get you rolling for next year, right? That kind of thing. Let's get the rookie in there. If he balls out, he wins a couple games, great. He's been learning it from you. Then next year you come in, you plug and play, get you 110% healthy. I think that's kind of what we're leaning towards right now. I'm excited to see if Penix actually plays at all. I think he's going to last couple weeks. I don't know Atlanta's schedule like the back of my hand, but I'm guessing they can lose. That defense is terrible. That defense gets no push. Their DBs are very mid. No, it's just a recipe for disaster. Kirk Cousins was playing good at the beginning of the year, which is very weird. Usually he gets stronger throughout the year. Like he maybe not stronger, but he definitely, takes baby steps, getting better and better and better, and kind of flattens out. But I'm excited to see if Penix plays. Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals shootout. Russ threw for like 400 yards. Joe Burrow threw for like 300 plus. I really wanted Cincy to win this just because I was talking that shit last week on Pittsburgh. Just because I don't want to bet on Pittsburgh ever because I don't trust Russell Wilson. I might have to. I might have to start thinking about it if I'm being completely honest with you, because it's like they are good. They've changed my mind a lot. They are good. I'm waiting for Russ to revert back because that defense is going to get them only so far where it's like, okay, Russ, you got to drive us down the field. You can't just take deep shot after deep shot after deep shot. Najee Harris is having a phenomenal year. He's getting a big old contract this year and next year. TJ Warren's also having a good year. They're doing all these good things. Cincy, just no defense. Offensive line is okay. You kind of let Joe Mixon walk out of the building, which kind of sucks because that run game is so-so. T. Higgins is probably going to be gone. You're wasting a Joe Burrow prime year, which kind of sucks. So it's really like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Arizona, Minnesota. I saw that Minnesota won. I didn't see anything about this game. Kyler had an okay night, I mean. I'm not worried about Minnesota if I was going to play them in the playoffs, if I'm being honest. Even Arizona might win that division. Seattle's leading it, I think, right now. But like either of these teams, I'm not really super worried about. They could shock you. They could maybe win a game here and there, maybe a first round playoff game. But I'm not like they're going to win the Super Bowl. Indy wins playoffs? Question mark. They're behind the Broncos right now. I think Broncos and Indy both have a bye week this week, and then they play each other in 2 weeks. That'll be a good game. Broncos just won the other night. That's really all I have about that. Pats draft. Who do you draft? If you're the Patriots, who do you draft? Do you go get an offensive lineman? Do you go get Travis Hunter or Ashton Gentry? You have Ramondre Stevenson, who has had fumble problems, so that kind of fills that void, but you kind of need a weapon on the outside for Drake May. So what do you do? That'll be interesting. I'm excited to see where they go with that because I think Drake May is the guy there. Anthony Richardson is slowly growing on me. Not to pivot back and forth. Anthony Richardson is slowly growing. I still don't think he's very good. But again, I think if you put enough time into him, which is it Shane Steichen in Indy, the quarterback coach or offensive coordinator and head coach? I think if you put enough time into Anthony Richardson, he'll be good. But he's 19, 20 years old, 21. He's loading. I think you got to develop him. He can throw the shit out of the ball. He has a fucking rocket arm, but he can't make those precision throws. Jets are dead to me. I was like, this is the best day of my life because I've been riding the Jets all year, trying to get them to cover spreads, trying to get them to win games, all this kind of shit. I'm not even a Jets fan. I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, but like, I think it's because the hype and, like I said it last week, the nostalgia with Devontae Adams. They had Randall Cobb last year, all these kinds of shit. I just want to see Aaron Rodgers be prime Aaron Rodgers again, which I'm holding on to and it'll never come back. But they're dead to me. I'm done. I'm done betting on them. I have to remind myself when we get to the games, don't bet on Aaron Rodgers. Don't bet on the Jets. They're going to let you down. But they started out 21-0. 21-0. And they didn't score again the rest of the game. They were like, oh, I was watching this game. I was like, this is what it's supposed to be. This offense is supposed to be like this. And then this defense comes out and gets, it's the Seahawks, but they're supposed to get stops like this, left and right. Oh, Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, dropping it in the bucket. And then the Seahawks come back and win. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Never touching the Jets again. They play the Dolphins. I'm not touching the Jets. Trevor Lawrence got his absolute shit rocked. It was a dirty-ass hit. Guy got suspended for 3 games. Allah Shakir or something like that got suspended for 3 games. I was debating with my friends. Look, you know, at that level, you're playing at high speed, and you kind of get out of control sometimes. At least, you know, what I see and what I hear. But you have enough body control to control yourself as well. It was a dirty-ass hit, I think, in my opinion. And he leaned with his forearm. It looks like he's going for his chest, but he goes to his head and neck area. My big thing is you see Trevor Lawrence start to slide. You literally see it. He's 5 yards away from you. He's going to slide into you. You see him go down. Now, this is kind of where me and a couple friends started to agree on this, is like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen kind of ruin this because they're like fake sliding or they're going to fake run out of bounds and they really go for another 5 yards. So it's really like, as a defensive player, do you absolutely just fucking crush the quarterback and get mauled by the offensive lineman, or do you take the penalty, or like, you know, do you trust them to go out of bounds or go down, all that kind of shit. So I kind of get it, but he was obvious. He was clearly going down. Trevor Lawrence isn't going to run through you. He was clearly going down, and as he's literally, his ass is about to touch the ground, you see him launch at him, gave him the hands or whatever. I forgot what that's called, but it's not good. Shut Trevor Lawrence down. Shut the Jags down. Just let them come back next year. We don't need to watch any more Jaguars football. They're done. I mean, Mac Jones maybe he has a good game. Who are they playing this week? We'll get to the games in a second. Playing Tennessee at Tennessee. They could be live in that game. They really could. I'm probably going to take Tennessee, but nevertheless, they could be live. I'm also not scared of the Texans. If I were to play them in the playoffs, I'm not really scared of them. I could be eating these words here in a few weeks, but I'm not really scared of them, if I'm being completely honest with you. They look okay. They've been kind of just riding this boat. Kind of a sophomore slump year for C.J. Stroud. No Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins finally came back. Joe Mixon's been Joe Mixon's had a good year so far. Rams Saints, didn't watch this game. Didn't even keep an eye on it. I know the Saints were up, and then Taysom Hill tore his ACL at some point, and then the Rams won. That's all I know. Tampa and Panthers, that was a good game. I actually did watch this one a little bit, shockingly enough, because I have my Bryce Young stock still holding on to it. Like, get away from my stock. It's gonna be here forever. I'm never letting go of it. It was a hell of a game. Bryce he's been doing good ever since he got benched for a few weeks. Get him a couple more weapons. Get him an offensive line. Chuba Hubbard's going to be good. Build that defense up a little bit. Let's get that organization going. I think they're going to be okay. If they unless he falls off a cliff again, then I'm like, okay, sell me anything. Take it out of my hands. I don't want it anymore. But he looked good. Baker's always going to be a dog. Mike Evans is always going to be a dog. I like this Tampa team a lot. I really do. They might squeak into the playoffs. They might not, which kind of sucks. Chris Godwin's probably going to be gone this year, unless Tampa's like, hey, we'll give you a fat-ass contract. But I like that Tampa team a lot. Went into overtime. shout out. I mean, the Panthers had a chance, and then defense from Tampa ripped that ball out of his hands. And yeah, EAGL, Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. That's what I have written down. Beat the Ravens, beat the Ravens in Baltimore. That is a fucking crazy game. That's crazy to me. Ravens looked okay. I was like, okay, they'll eventually turn it on. You know, a few possessions, maybe into the second quarter. Never really turned it on. Never really turned it on. On the other hand, Saquon was running everywhere. Jalen Hurts was running. Jalen Hurts was throwing the ball pretty well. I mean, they were doing whatever they want. And then no Graham as a defensive end for the Eagles, and they're still getting pass rush on Lamar. You keep Lamar in the pocket long enough, he's going to get antsy a little bit and try to get out of there. He's more of a natural get out of the pocket kind of guy, but if you force him to kind of stay in the pocket, I mean, don't get me wrong. He has the best percentage, I think, in the NFL of pocket percentage of completion rate. I mixed those words up, but you kind of get what I'm saying. But still, that defense stood up. Derrick Henry had an all right game. I mean, Lamar had an okay game, but shout out to the Eagles. I'm a little nervous. If I was facing the Eagles, I'd be a little nervous. Lions-Eagles NFC Championship game? Probably. I don't know who else is going to fucking come out of the NFC. Buffalo Bills roll the 49ers. 49ers are done. Christian tore his PCL. His backup running back rolled his ankle really bad. Debo's lost his step. George Kittle's been in and out all year. Trent Williams has been in and out all year. Brock Purdy's been in and out all year. It's just injury bug left and right. Bills look legit. Josh Allen is a fucking dog. I love Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong. We're about to talk about the Broncos, but I will never forgive the Broncos for not drafting Josh Allen. Instead, we got, what's his name? I think he's on the Dolphins. Bradley Chubb. I'll never forgive him for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that we got Bo Nix now. Let's just roll into it right now. Denver has their guy. Denver, we have our guy. Okay? I went to the game Monday night. I saw him again in person from, I think it was like week 3 or 4 when we played the Chargers to now when we played, who the fuck did we play? The Browns. The Browns aren't anyone to take. They're not to take lightly, okay? Their record does not speak to how they play on the field. I think the Browns can actually do a little damage and be a fun team. I don't think Jameis is the guy, but he's enough to spark it and throw for fucking 500 yards. Let's get the Browns done with. The Browns had a hell of a game. Jameis threw for almost 500 yards, 3 yards short actually. He had 4 TDs and 3 interceptions. I think 2 of them were pick sixes. The third one was almost a pick six. Jerry Jeudy had a career game, the most passing yards against the Broncos ever. It was like 220 something, I think. I mean, hell of a. They are not to be taken lightly. Jameis is going to go out there and sling that thing. He's going to go out there and sling it. He's a fun quarterback. This is why Jameis is playing. He's not to win the Super Bowl. He's not to do anything else. It is to put up numbers for everyone else, even for himself. I like Jameis. If I were an organization and Jameis isn't starting as a quarterback, I want him as my number 2. I really do. I'm serious. He is that fun. He is a guy. If you could, take away a couple interceptions, maybe that game goes different. Bo Nix threw 2. He had a tutty. He had 200 plus yards. His completion percentage wasn't the best, but still, Broncos have their guy. I mean, that throw is going around my timeline where they're backed up on their own end zone, drops into and then I think the ball's on like the 3 or 4 yard line, drops into the end zone, throws an absolute fucking bullet to Marvin Mims. I think it was 93 yards, so we were on our own 7. 93 yards. Throws a bullet to him. I mean, hell of a catch, too. Cornerback coming over your back, safety coming down on you, and he just drops it right there. And no arc, nothing. Just a fucking missile straight to him. Hell of a throw. I think we have our guy. I really, really do. I think Sean Payton is crafting him in his own way. I think that is going to be very important. The defense is getting better. Our receivers have gotten better. Cortland's dropped a couple balls here and there. But, our running backs are legit. Estime, Um, what's his name? I know Javante, and I'm thinking of the other ones. The other one, McLaughlin. I mean, they're all balling out. Offensive line is great. That's what's going to suck here in the next year or two is we're going to have to pay each of those guys or go get someone out of the draft. Garrett Bowles is going to need a contract here soon. Maybe takes a little hometown discount and be like, hey, I like this team. Maybe a little bit of all those guys do. Some of them will probably leave, make a business decision. Riley Moss. We need Riley Moss back ASAP. Our backup cornerback gave up like 140 yards to Jerry Jeudy alone. So that kind of sucks. We miss Riley Moss a lot. I don't think that game is as close as it is if Riley Moss is playing. But Broncos won. I think the Broncos have their guy. I really do. I'm like 95% sure. I'm 95% sure. Let's come back after the bye week. Let's get a win over Indy. And let's see how the playoffs go. You know what? I'm going to take that 95 to a 90. I've been optimistic the entire time. I just want to see it in the playoffs. I think that's where it shows. Bo Nix, unrattled. I love it. I absolutely fucking love it. I'll get off my soapbox on that one, but 90% sure we have our guy. 90%. College picks. Let's get into the games. I got 5 college games. There's some on Friday night. I only have 1 for Friday night, and I got 4 on Saturday. And then we got week 14 of the NFL. College. UNLV. This is all. They're all played at neutral sites, but UNLV at Boise. Boise -4 on Friday night. This is to win the Mountain West. I've watched very little UNLV. I really have. I know they have some crazy offense. That's all I remember is that the offensive coordinator and I think the head coach created that offense. So I just want Boise to keep winning, and I want them to get into the playoff. I really do. I love the Smurf turf. I love their uniforms. Give me Boise -4. I like it. Friday night game too. I don't know where it's played at. If it's close to Vegas, then maybe I change that pick. But I like Boise regardless. Iowa State at Arizona State. Again, neutral fields, but Iowa State versus Arizona State. Arizona State -2. I've seen some Iowa State. I haven't seen a whole lot of Arizona State. Iowa State is a well-coached team. They're always, pretty good throughout the entire winter, late fall. They're always pretty good. In my mind, they are. I don't know where that comes from. Them in Minnesota, I don't know what it is. I think they're always pretty good late in the fall. Just because they're northern and they get used to the cold faster. I don't know. Arizona State's playing with the purpose right now. Not saying Iowa State isn't, but Arizona State's playing with the purpose. That coach is extremely young. He's kind of talking his shit in some press conferences. Give me Arizona State -2. I don't love that pick, but it is what it is. We're almost in bowl season. It's conference championship week, and then we get a playoff week, and then it's just bowl games. And then it's just bowl games, and then more playoffs. Bowl season. You got to have a bowl game on during the day, all that kind of shit. I mean, they play bowl games on Thursday afternoons, I think. I don't know. They're going on constantly. We got Georgia at Texas. Texas -2.5. This is played in Atlanta. I know that for sure. SEC championship game. Always played in Atlanta. Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I was trying to go to this game. Flights are outrageous. I could get maybe a ticket and then walk my ass back. That's about as much as I can do. I could get a ticket to the game and walk back and forth. This is tough. Here's where my brain's at. I think Carson Beck isn't that good. I think Texas is kind of riding a high. I think Texas has a little more to play for because we beat them earlier. We beat them earlier this year. But it's also are we going to play them again in, second round of the playoffs or third round of the playoffs in the semis? We might. So it's kind of if Georgia knows they're in, I think they kind of this is my brain. This is me coping as a fan. I think Georgia kind of lets them squeak by. But at the same time, I kind of see Georgia beat Texas to get a better seed, maybe get a first-round bye. Maybe. Do we climb to 4 at least? Probably not. But maybe we climb to 5, 6, jump a spot or two, get a lower seeded game, and go play Arizona State at home. Don't be wrong, Arizona State, they're going to be good. They're going to be a tough team, playing with a purpose. But maybe, I'm going to take Georgia. I don't think I can bet against Georgia at this point. Carson Beck seems, knock on wood, to show up in big-time games and big-time plays. Granted, it was Alabama, but Georgia just can't beat Alabama in general. Give me Georgia plus 2.5. I'm probably going to take a money line if I'm being honest. We got Penn State at Oregon. James Franklin can't win the big one. I keep telling myself that. Even when they get in the playoffs, I have to tell myself that. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Oregon pulls away with it late. I'm nervous about Penn State's pass rush onto Oregon because Oregon's offensive line is a little smaller. But, I think they'll handle their own. Dylan Gabriel's going to get that rock out quick. I'm going to take Oregon minus 3.5. Not in love with it, but I think they're going to cover because James Franklin, say it with me, James Franklin can't win the big one. Clemson at SMU. Clemson has to win this game. Maybe not has to, but if they lose, it's not looking good for them. I think they drop I think they drop farther than we think. I unfortunately think that because they haven't really played anyone. They've kind of they haven't skated through the conference, but they're winning their games. They're covering their games. Clemson lost early in the season to Georgia. Was it Georgia or Bama? I don't remember who the fuck they lost to. I kind of want to see Clemson in. Don't really want to also because I don't think they're going to do a whole lot. I think SMU is just going to be a lot more fun. Give me SMU minus 2.5. I like that. I'm okay with that. First time I'll probably watch SMU all year. I've seen highlights of them. They look good. They got money. They're throwing monies at players left and right, even more under the table than probably on the contract. They're like, hey, come play with us. Here's $500,000. We'll give you a fucking another $2,000 every week if we have to. Just get down here. Get down to Dallas. That's Conference Champions Week right there. That's the games that I got. I should state, not to brag, I went above 500 in both my picks last week. I went 5-4 in college, 10-6 in the NFL. Boom, boom, let's go. Best week I've had all year probably, and it's amazing. I don't like my picks on these college games, if I'm being transparent. I don't like any of them. I think everything's going to be backwards, so that'll be fun to watch. All right, Week 14, NFL. Again, went 10-6 in Week 13. No big deal. Thursday night game. It's going to be a good game. Green Bay going to Detroit. It's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game for both teams. I think Green Bay is gonna kind of have their way on offense, but I haven't. Detroit didn't cover last week, which kind of hurt my feelings. but I'm gonna get over it, and I like Green Bay. I like Jordan Love. I really do. I think they're gonna be right there in the playoffs all year. I think they're gonna make a deep run. I really do. It could be. I think it's gonna be Detroit, Green Bay, or Green Bay. I think it's always gonna be Detroit. It's gonna be Detroit and the Eagles versus Detroit or Detroit, Green Bay, Eagles. One of those two is gonna play Detroit. That's what I'm trying to fucking say. Give me Detroit -3 just because they're at home. I think that's what it is. I think Matt LaFleur is gonna have the guys ready. I just think it's Detroit or nothing. I really do. I think this is their fucking year. If they get healthy, if that defense comes back healthy in the next few weeks, I'm not going to sweat it. Now, if they keep getting banged up, I might have to reevaluate a little bit. But, yeah. That's Thursday Night Football. If you're listening to this, that's tonight. Sunday afternoon, or Sunday morning, excuse me. I need to blow my nose or something. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Don't really care about this game, if I'm being honest. Do I trust Mac Jones? Not really. Do I want to see Will Levis be good? Brett Favre 2.0 is, as I say, give me Tennessee -4. Jets at Dolphins, again, don't really... Are any of these games good? No. Wow, kind of a fucking midweek, honestly. Okay. Jets at Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins -6. I told myself I would never bet on the Jets again. I unfortunately have this sick feeling that the Dolphins are going to win by 3 or they're going to lose. Or no. Dolphins at home. They just got their shit pushed in a couple weeks ago. I think the Jets are completely dead. I'd be shocked. They're like, hey, Aaron, let's get you back healthy, kind of like the Kirk Cousins shit. Let's just try again next year. Even if there's a lot of rumors around Aaron Rodgers not wanting to come back, not wanting to do this, not wanting to do that. He does have his own show coming out on Netflix or a movie, whatever it is, Enigma. I'm interested to watch it. It looks a little weird, but it's Aaron Rodgers. You know, he's a weird guy. I like it. Dolphins -6. Atlanta going to Minnesota. I don't think Atlanta's going to turn it around. I think Penix might actually get a little shot here. Give me Minnesota -5.5. Saints at Giants. Ugh. That just stinks. Not the best weekend. Give me New Orleans. -5. That stinks. I might have to start Derek Carr this week in fantasy. I might have to. Panthers at Eagles. Eagles -12. I think the Eagles are really good. The Panthers are playing good right now. I just think they're going to run into a brick wall with the Eagles. Unfortunately, Eagles -12 is going to be the lock of the. I don't know if it's the lock of the day, but it feels like the lock of the day. If I'm being completely honest with you. Yeah, part of me wants to take the Panthers +12 just because I was gassing Bryce up at the beginning of this episode, and I just think the Eagles are right now are just hitting their stride. I really do. Late in the season, hitting their stride. I think they're going to get after Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's going to at least have a touchdown. He's going to throw at least one touchdown, I think. Maybe. I just think the Eagles -12. And I think Devontae Smith is coming back this week after missing a couple weeks. I think this is where the Eagles kind of flex their muscles and be like, hey, fuck you, we're the Eagles. We're going to probably go to the Super Bowl, at least the NFC Championship game. Browns at Pittsburgh. I don't know. Division rivals. 6.5 is a lot, I feel like, in this kind of ugly game. Fuck it. I'll ride with Jameis. Give me this +6.5. I don't know if Jameis covers games. That's the problem. I think he's out there just, hey, we're up a touchdown or up 10 touchdowns. Oh, shit, we're down 21. Let me go out there and try to sling this bitch around. I know Mike Tomlin likes covering games. He's a sicko about it. If you go back and look at his stats about against the spread, for the spread, with the spread, whatever you want to term it, he covers games. He covers games regardless. I think he's going to give us a 6 instead of a tail and a half. Browns cover plus a 6.5. Raiders at Bucks. I don't know. But give me the Bucks 6.5. I think the Raiders might cover this game late on a back door. Maybe. They were coming off this high, maybe not a high, but they played well against the Chiefs, right? That's a good game. You can hang your hat on losing to the back-to-back Super Bowl champions in their house. But I think you come out flat against the Bucks, and I think the Bucks roll. Afternoon games, Seattle at Arizona, kind of like I don't really know how to feel these teams out. I don't. Seattle's been coming back late in games. Arizona hasn't done shit the last couple weeks. I think Arizona gets it back on track. Seattle's kind of going to come down. This is a division game as well. Very important division because these two are at the top of their divisions. Give me Arizona -2.5. Don't love it because Seattle has been doing it late in the fourth quarter. Geno's been driving down and winning games. I'm a little nervous about that. Buffalo at the Rams. Rams got off to a slow start last week. That's what I do remember about that game. Buffalo coming down. That's across the country. Buffalo's really good. I think the Rams might win this one. Give me the Rams plus the 5. They might win this one. If not, it's gonna be losing by a field goal or somewhere around there. Bears at 49ers. Kind of a stinker of a game if you really think about it. Bears need a win. 49ers are kind of like, fuck it, it's not our year. do you like? Are you like, hey, Brock Purdy, let's get some confidence in you going into the next season? I know we still got 5-6 weeks left. I understand that, but we're late enough in the season to be like, are we going to start shutting guys down soon just to get them healthy, keep them healthy, and be like, fuck it, let's go all in next year. Bears need to see some more out of Caleb. Not more, but it'd be nice to see them have a good game. But I still think it's 49ers minus the 4. I really do. I don't love that pick. Bears make me nervous. I mean, they covered against Detroit last week. That was 10. No, 49ers. It's the 49ers. Chargers at Chiefs. They played this game a few weeks ago. This is another one of those games where I think the Chiefs should have lost. Again, you can't leave too much time for Patrick Mahomes. Going into Arrowhead, Chiefs, you can think this two ways. Chiefs hasn't. I think the Chiefs has covered maybe 1 or 2 games all year. If you bet against Chiefs, you're probably in the profit range. Chargers coming off an okay win against Atlanta. If you look at this two ways for the Chiefs, you almost got embarrassed by the Raiders. You need to come out and show why you guys are a legit number 1 seed in the NFL, maybe the best team in the NFL. I don't think so, but you can do that. On the other hand, they haven't flexed their muscles all year, and they're kind of like playing cat and mouse with their games. I don't know where to think about this. It's 3.5. Give me the Chargers plus 3.5, just because, again, I don't think the Chiefs have covered a whole lot this year. So yeah, that's Sunday night game. That'll be a good Sunday night game, kind of nightcap game. Monday night, Bengals at Dallas. I don't have the line written down this. I don't know why. Let's look real quick. I liked it's Cooper Rush versus Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow doesn't have a defense. And it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Micah Parsons is going to get after him. I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a tough one for me. Come on, give me the NFL. There we go. What is the line? Guess the line. Cincy minus 5. What are we thinking? Bengals going into Dallas. Cincy minus 5. Dallas hasn't looked bad. I mean, they're keeping it close. Now, some inferior opponents for sure, but the Bengals aren't that good. Give me, you know what? Fuck it. Let's ride with Dallas. I don't love this pick, but since he's let me down a couple times this year, that's it. Subscribe, like, tell a friend, be a friend, whatever. What is it? Tell a friend, be a friend? I don't know. Spread the word. Like, subscribe. That's Beyond the Spread. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Let's get after it this weekend.